Hey guys,
I'm Jerry.
I'm Sierra.
We're ladies.
And we tangent.
Right before you guys got on, Josh was saying that he can't get that song out of his head. And Christian's like, I literally don't know what you're talking about. How? It's all over TikTok. Yes.
It's about that time.
No,
It's so good. It's very good.
Right now I have our TikTok algorithm on like social justice.
I
TikTok.
know, that's why I
Yes,
use my
same.
personal TikTok, because I can't be on our TikTok scrolling because it makes me like angry and sad. So then I go to my personal TikTok, which is nothing but like funny dancing videos, funny dog videos, funny bird videos, and funny kid videos.
No,
which is
ours
a
will
lot
just
of-
make you our
No, I can't.
For you page will just make you cry
I don't want to see it.
and angry.
I have a lot of the abortion rights stuff going on right now. I
Yeah.
have a lot of that, but also it's mainly cats. And I'm on Bi Talk.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Same.
Yes, and lots of stuff about newborns and labor delivery and all the
Yeah.
things because I'm pregnant and you know.
Yeah.
See, I specifically didn't like or like click on any of those because I was just like overwhelmed with all information anyways. And I'm like, I don't want to see these because
Thank
I
you.
feel like TikTok's my escape. I get people talking to me about newborn stuff everywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it on TikTok.
That's true, but since this is my first one, I like have no idea what I'm doing and
It's
don't
true,
know what
true,
to expect. So it has
Honestly,
been
that was me too.
fair.
Because
Yeah,
mine was 10 years apart. So I was like, what the fuck is happening?
that's fair.
I feel
Yeah.
so much taller than you right now.
Well, you're on a pillow.
So
I
I
gotta
thought
get-
you were too.
No, I was. All right, I'm going to get back on my pillow.
What's up, everyone? Hello. We have a special
hi.
guest, everyone. Yay!
Hey, it's me.
Erika's
I'm-
here from the Judgies.
I'm here. Sup?
Can
Sup,
I
gang?
tell you, I don't know if I saw you on TikTok first or if I saw you tagged us in a story,
That's what I saw first.
because it was when you did the episode where you mentioned us
Yeah.
and you said that like you were in the top 3 with us of people's favorite podcasts.
Mhm.
And I was like, do these people hate us? I couldn't tell
Yeah,
at first.
Same. We watched it. I was like, I don't know if they like us.
No, I love you guys. No, I'm trying really hard not to fangirl. So I hope I'm not being weird.
Not at all.
Literally before this episode, I was talking to Christian and Josh. I'm like, I am so nervous. What if they hate me? Like, I feel like we're gonna be such good friends, but what if I screw it up? And I'm so nervous.
I just walk
Oh.
off. I'm like, bye.
What
I'm
if we were
done. Please
absolute
don't.
dicks?
Oh,
What if you're
no.
like, what big fakers you are on your episodes?
Oh no, I'd be so sad.
No,
Oh.
we love you. We get a lot of people too that tell us they came to us from the Judgies podcast.
There's a
Yes,
lot
I
of
love that.
overlap.
There is.
Good.
And so I feel like I already know you.
I think people are going to be really
Same.
excited that you're on here.
Yeah, I do too.
You've been highly
The
requested.
amount of mentions that I got when you guys said, Erika, come be on our podcast. I hadn't listened to that episode yet. And I just got flooded with notifications. Everyone was like, Ladies and Tangents mentioned you. And I was like, oh no, what'd they say? Did they hate me?
no.
And then I listened to it and I was like, oh, hell yeah. But it was also super
Hell yeah.
weird, like hearing my own name and like being referenced in a podcast that I listened to. And I was like, oh, this is weird and cool. How do I feel about this? I don't know.
Isn't it strange that like
Out of body experience.
you do have
Yeah.
that platform as well, but like when you're on the receiving end of it, you're like, oh my god, that's me.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, for
That's it.
real.
Yep.
So I have a question. How did
Mhm.
you 3, because you do it with your husband and
Our
you
best
know-
friend Josh.
okay.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get started?
So Josh was dating a person who is not who he's dating right now,
I
thankfully.
thought you were gonna be like, who's
And-
no longer with us.
I mean, technically, she's alive, but she's just not with us.
She's just not with
Got
us
it.
anymore.
Right. So she wanted to do a podcast with him. They were going to do one together. And in my mind, I was like, okay, but whatever, they do them. And then they broke up. So Josh bought all of this equipment to do this podcast, and then they broke up. And
What luck for you.
Right? it was right at the start of the pandemic, so you like couldn't really return things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then Josh was
I
like,
don't return
well,
things
Me
anyway.
neither. I'm
That's-
like, I
yeah,
guess I just
same.
have this now.
for real, especially online stuff. Like, oh, it's such a hassle. I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
Right.
But he was like, well, I still like really want to do this. So then it was just going to be Josh and Christian doing it. And I was going to play The Sims. Like I literally brought my laptop over. I was like, all right, I'm going to hang out in the other room and play The Sims while you guys do whatever it is you're going to do. And they're like, well, just come in here and we'll hang out and see how it feels. And I was like, okay, whatever. And now I'm the best part of the podcast. So it's fine.
Honestly, you bring something to it that
a uterus.
yeah, you bring
Yes.
a uterus to it, and it's
Because
Needed.
here's the thing about
is
us
needed.
is
I don't want to
if
be
it's-
mean.
I was gonna say if it's two guys, we're not gonna listen to it.
Yeah,
For sure.
Just like as someone who like is observing before I even like click on it, if I
Mhm.
just see it's two white guys, I'm like, absolutely
No.
no, I cannot do that.
I just
So-
hear enough white guys talking in my life all the time. Anyways, like I just need.
And to know that like you were a part of it as well, I'm like, okay, so it's two guys who also have value, who also value a female perspective, and like
Yes.
you are an equal part of it. And yeah, so I'm like, okay.
I give this a shot.
Yes.
I will
gonna get
listen
so
to the
many
one where they
male-
talk about us.
We're gonna get so many male podcasters pissed now.
That's fine. We don't care.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't-
Thank you. All right, good.
Yeah,
good. I
we're
gotta get
good.
there. I gotta get there.
How did you guys land on like what you wanted to talk about? Are you guys big
We-
Redditors?
Josh and Christian were. I hadn't
Okay.
even downloaded the app until honestly like 6 months into us doing the podcast.
Yeah.
love
I
that.
didn't even like, well, plus again, it was the beginning of the pandemic. My job is awful and I couldn't get anything done outside of work anyway. So Christian and Josh just found stories for me to read and I pretended like I
Right.
found them. But
Love that.
yeah, Josh and Christian were constantly on Reddit anyway and would talk about the posts when we were hanging out. And they were like, well, let's just do that. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I honestly am just
Yeah.
along for the ride. So
And I think a lot of people respond to that. I think
Yeah.
people are obsessed with it and don't Reddit's super intimidating to me. So I feel like people
Yes.
are
Oh my
more
God, it's
likely
so
to
scary.
listen to someone else talking about it rather than having to dive into it themselves. I've gotten on it before and I'm like, absolutely,
Nope.
never mind.
Goodbye.
We're out.
for sure.
We were just on Reddit. Somebody posted our latest TikTok
Yeah.
to Reddit, and just like reading, it's so scary out there.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
just
lot.
It really
terrified.
is.
And then
Yeah.
everybody's kind of like, like with their opinions, and I'm like, oh my god.
I read a
it's
comment that
so
was like, what the
scary.
fuck is on her face? And I'm like, I had acne and I put zit stickers on my face. What do you want me to
I
do?
use
I
those
didn't feel like putting makeup on.
Someone said women aren't funny, and I was like, well, a guy wrote what we're reading. So, but double down,
Sure.
I guess.
Okay. So I have another question. I feel like this
Okay.
is just interview Erika time.
I know.
That's
I'm
fine.
So did you and Christian were you planning to have start a family, or did this just kind of
Oh
like
yeah, Erica's
surprise?
pregnant. if
Erika's
everybody
pregnant,
Yes, I
everyone.
am pregnant. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see it from the angle that we're in, but
How far along are
Um,
you?
I am 29 weeks today.
Exciting.
Ooh, that's third trimester, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, home
Yes.
stretch.
I'm freaking out about it. But yes, we did plan this. This was a planned pregnancy.
Cool.
And with everything that's like been going on in the world right now, it's
Yeah.
really weird to be like reading all of this and listening to all of it and feeling my baby kick at the same time.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can imagine.
It's surreal, and especially like listening to everybody's stories about miscarriages and the things
Yeah.
that have gone wrong for them. And I'm sobbing reading your Instagram post the other day about it.
Oh.
And
I
it's
felt so
just-
bad. I thought about that. I'm like, because I knew you were coming on, and I'm like, I think this was a terrible idea, because what if we traumatize her with these
no,
stories?
no. I've
I tried
been
to pick not so traumatizing ones.
that's fair. No, like I said, that's my side of TikTok that I'm on is
Mhm.
all of these birth stories and all this stuff. So I'm mentally prepared. I think not really, but I've heard the stories. Plus, my degree's in biomedical science, so
Oh,
I know the things that can happen,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
just pretend like I don't.
And truly, no
So-
matter how much preparation you do, there is no way to prepare, because
Yeah.
you could be the most like prepared for any situation, and then that baby will be like, threw you a fucking
Yeah.
loop.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
both my deliveries were totally
We're fucking
it on me. They were totally different. And
Yeah.
I felt so prepared going into both of them,
Mhm.
but like for different reasons. Like
And
the
they both
first time
went
it was
so-
blind ignorance. And then the second time I was like, I've been here, done this, let's go. And then fucking he just he kicked his way into the world.
Yeah.
But
I was like, surprise shot A.
yeah. So you won't be traumatized is what you're saying?
I'll still probably be traumatized.
Okay,
because
great,
I
amazing.
overthink everything anyway. But like I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified to go through labor and delivery. I don't want to do it.
Have you tried hypnosis?
This bitch.
I'm
I
not
have not.
kidding. I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
I can give you the woman's name. I downloaded all of her albums and I listened to them when I fell asleep, and then I listened to them for 8 hours in labor. I was just like swaying, listening to her, like, you're feeling your baby. Your baby breathes life into you. And I'm like, yes, it does. You're by the ocean now. And I'm like, I fucking love the ocean. I don't know. It helped me a lot.
I listened to like hardcore gangster rap, and it kind of did the same thing for me.
Okay. All
Could you
right.
imagine a hardcore gangster hypnosis?
Shot A.
You gonna enjoy this labor, bitch. or something. I don't know. I've never written gangster rap before.
Not yet. But
I
it's
was
on
just-
the bucket list.
Honestly, channeling DMX.
That's what I was thinking. I was gonna bark.
Great. So have you received any terrible advice yet? Or like gross unsolicited advice?
I don't think so.
Well, that's
I-
good.
I'm kind of standoffish to strangers, so they don't
Love that.
approach me.
See,
I'm-
that's strange to me because normally bellies are like stranger
Oh
magnets.
my god!
I know.
Corey said he was so like put off. Like he was like, "This is so weird," because towards my last trimester and anywhere we went, especially older women would be like just staring at me when we went out. Like heads would turn when we walked
Like
past
they were
them
trying
in a
to suck
restaurant.
the youth
Like,
from you.
oh my god! Did you see? She's got a huge belly.
I
And,
do get a
like,
lot of people saying, like, even fans on some of our TikTok comments are just like, I want to touch your belly so bad. I'm like, oh, I don't know you. That's so weird.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. But in general, I haven't had any strangers come up to me, and do anything weird.
That's
Just
good.
honestly, the strangest thing, and if my mom listens to this episode, she's probably going to yell at me, but my mom was never a toucher. She never was really a hugger. She didn't show physical affection. She would
Mhm.
tell you that, like, I know she loves me.
Right.
She told me all the time, but she's not a physical person. And now all of a sudden that I'm pregnant, she's like constantly trying to touch my belly. She wants to put her face next to my belly and like talk to him. And I'm like, who are you? What is this?
done to you?
Yeah, that
God.
truly is a big like that's a shock to the system when
That
you're like
is.
not used to being touched by
Yeah.
someone, then all of a sudden they're
Yeah.
touching you and you're like,
Like
Yeah,
I
I'll do that.
almost, not that I would rather have a stranger do it, but like I would almost feel more comfortable with it because she's just like, that's so not like her.
yeah,
And here we are.
I feel
There, I
that.
swear to God, it's like a magnet that's in that uterus that people are like, gotta touch it.
You know
gotta
what?
touch
It
that."
happens with kids too, because like when I take my kids to the store now,
Mhm.
people will want to come up and touch them, and I'm like, hey, fucking not yours.
Don't-
Hands to
don't
yourself.
touch them.
Absolutely not. We're still in a pandemic, people. Like you shouldn't be
yes.
touching anyone.
Yeah,
But
in a
also-
Ponderosa.
And also, don't touch them even if we're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stranger
I-
danger. Like what
I
the
try
hell?
not to take Sawyer into public for that reason. I'm like, no, we're gonna stay.
I have a hard time feeling like people who love me want me to touch them, let alone
Yeah,
a
right?
stranger. I would never feel like putting my body on someone else's body, especially if they don't know me.
So weird.
Uh-huh.
Like we hugged the other day and I was like,
oh,
this
we
feels
were like fucking
so wrong. Get off of me.
Literally, that's how it feels with my mom. Like
yeah.
Yep.
I have hugged my mother only a handful of times in like the last 10 years, which is fine because we don't do that. I
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to her every day. I say I love you multiple times a day. That's not an issue, but like physical touch between us is so weird.
And
And
that's us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because can
I
you
get
imagine
it.
if like when you were pregnant, I was just like rubbing your belly all the time. I think I felt him kick one time.
And that was
saying,
because I grabbed your hand. I was like, feel this
Invited
shit.
it.
yeah,
You're
Yeah.
not gonna believe it.
yes. Well, and I've always felt weird because I could tell that people wanted to, but then I also felt weird because I didn't want to be like, do you want to touch my belly?
Okay, I felt
I could see people like,
I felt weird when Shane would like talk to it. Does Christian like address your
No.
bump? Okay.
Sometimes, very,
he just
very
ignores
rarely.
it.
No, like
he just walks by like this.
Hey,
he
fuck
said
that
on an
off.
episode the other day, the baby was kicking while we were recording. He's, you want me to beat him up? I'll fuck that baby up. And I was just like, no.
You hit my wife.
How dare
Literally.
you?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. I mean, Christian's very shy and awkward in general. So even with me, sometimes he can be shy and awkward. Like he'll touch my belly, but never, he hasn't really gotten up close and personal.
He just like
So-
high fives it.
Corey wouldn't touch, like caress it or talk to it, but he did like palm it like a basketball and then stick his finger in like into my belly button hole because
Yep.
it got so big and he would be like, loop.
Yeah,
He was
Christian
bowling.
Christian
was
has
so
pointed out that my belly button is disappearing, and I didn't notice that
Ah.
until he pointed it out. And now I'm
Uh-huh.
constantly touching my belly button to see if it's gotten
It's
even
just
more
like-
shallow.
Oh my god, it is going
Nothing
away.
makes me more scared than belly buttons. Like, because if you
That's almost
look at
gonna
it,
just like, dude, mine
can it
got so
unravel?
thin that I was just like, when she would kick there, I was like, that shit is coming through.
Because that was an open hole at one point in time. And
Uh-huh.
you're telling me a knot closed it? You're telling me
Mm.
that scar tissue is holding my organs in my body? I think not.
It's
I don't
scary. I
trust
agree.
it.
sounds fake.
I think
Agreed.
babies were supposed to come out of there. They just like pull themselves out.
Let me just
How terrifying would that be?
like
Some
in a
fucking
cartoon.
alien shit.
Add that to my phobias. It's
Yeah, it's babies
not
coming
having
through belly
eyelids and babies coming through belly buttons.
It's so scary.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
very excited to have you on for our
Yes.
quote unquote Mother's Day special. We
Yeah, yeah.
started it as the Mother's Day special like 2 years ago,
Right.
but I always want to say like we are sending love to anyone who finds themselves in a position of caring for another person, whether you identify as a mother or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Happy time.
Happy
for you.
Caregivers Day.
Yeah.
For sure.
But for this episode, we are going to be sharing
Birth stories.
that our
Okay.
listeners sent in. We didn't post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
We only posted it on Facebook and our Patreon.
Well, mostly because I was gonna be the one reading them, and I have phobia of blood anyways. So
Yeah.
like some of these were tough to get through.
Yeah.
I don't think I
so trigger warning for anything birth related.
Yeah, and some of these do have
Okay.
trigger warnings, but
Yeah.
I don't think I did any like really traumatic ones because I was like, I can't do this.
I
Erika's
know.
listening. I just can't. But there are good stories to be
Listened
had.
to.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna do. Oh my god, I'm already just like
I
smacking
am
the shit out of
anxious about
everything.
it.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't worry, babies. I
I
got
think
you.
I'm just nervous now that we're traumatizing Erika before she gives birth.
This is gonna be fine.
It's fine. You're gonna have your own traumatic story and it's gonna be great.
Although
That's-
one,
yeah.
oh, well, I'll tell you when we get to it. Okay, here we go. Ready? This one is Jax, she, they pronouns. Okay. Imagine me 3 days from my due date, and the last blizzard of the year comes rolling into town. Nothing was slowing labor, so my spouse, he, him, and I drop our toddler off at a friend's and snail pace it to the hospital. That was one of my biggest fears. And I was having my baby in October. I was
Of
just
a
like,
snowstorm?
yes, I was like, it's gonna be a blizzard.
Hey,
and I'm not
it's
gonna
the
be able to
Midwest.
make-
Like anything
never
could
know.
happen.
You do not know what's gonna. So it was scary.
I was nervous because
Same with when I had Noah, and it was the end of February, but it was actually
well, that
such
makes
a
more
like
sense.
it was like 70 degrees because it is the
Mhm.
Midwest.
When
and you never
Sierra
know.
when Sierra was giving birth the first time, I was in college still and I had a presentation to give that day, and I walked up to my teacher and I was like, "Hey, can my group go first? Because, and I said my sister, I was like, my sister is in labor, my nephew's being born.
Yes.
And it's not like a total lie.
No, I feel like we're sisters.
She
Yeah.
stops, screams to the entire class, let's go, people, there are babies being born. She let me go first, and then I took off and we went home, and Sierra didn't give birth for many, many hours.
10 hours.
So there was no need to rush.
Definitely
Counter
no
to
need.
what every TV show has ever showed me, there's actually not much of a rush
Nope.
needed.
But I thought there
Okay.
was, because I went in and I was 6 centimeters. Everyone's like, oh, any moment now. And then he literally took like 12 more hours to get here. It was fucking great. Thanks, Noah. It was a beautiful experience. I loved every second of it. Okay, so by the time we reach the hospital doors, my contractions are within a minute and I'm nearly passing out from my blood pressure dropping rapidly with each contraction. The nurses got me in a room right away and called the anesthesiologist immediately. A few minutes later, an epidural is in my spine and I'm semi-relaxed. Highly, highly recommend.
Do
I
you
thought
plan
I
on
was
doing the
gonna be-
epidural?
I don't know. Yes
Hey,
and no.
hey,
There's
okay,
no
yeah.
there's no trophy for the pain Olympics. I'll say that, because I was so like, my second one, I'm like, I can fucking do this. I'm gonna do it. No epidural. And I got to 8 centimeters. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Why am I
Right.
trying this hard? And then after I got it, I was like, fucking just living life, having a
Mhm.
great. And then I actually like enjoyed Persian. I pushed her right out.
For sure, out of rare.
But my epidural didn't work for when I had Noah, and that was
They had to shut it off
horrible.
for you.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. They had to shut it off because
Oh.
it was like working too well, and then it didn't work at all. So I felt everything, and when I look back, I literally blacked it out. Like I can't remember him coming out.
Mhm.
But Sawyer, I was just like vibing. Like her head was out of me, and I was like laughing and joking with the doctors. Like
That's how I was
didn't
with
bother
Ollie.
me at all.
I'll
So,
say,
yeah.
like,
But whatever you want to do, I'm just giving I don't know, like I pushed so hard for myself to be like pain free, and then I was like, why, or
Yeah.
pain med free, but like
well, that's the thing is like, I think going in with no expectation
is better.
is better.
Mhm.
And I like that there's this idea of saying birth preferences now rather than birth plan, because like when you deviate from a plan, it feels like, fuck, that wasn't what I wanted. But a
Or like you feel like a
preference is
failure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you're like, okay, well, I guess this was what I preferred, but like
Mhm.
I preferred to get the Oreo cookie milkshake, but they're out, so I guess I'll have the Reese cup.
Right.
I really want ice cream.
I was like, fuck, that sounds good. Shit.
Anyway, okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just
So
had to-
you did you say that you're just kind of like, eh?
Yeah, I haven't fully decided. I will probably get one because I am a big baby myself and don't tolerate pain well. So
I would just
I'll
say,
probably have one.
my thing was, I was like, I'm not going to like go in, because with Noah, I went in and was like, yeah, sure, put it in me, and like I didn't feel any
That's also
pain.
how Noah was
That's-
conceived.
I was like,
Yes.
yeah, sure, put it in me. That'll be fine. But so the next time I was like, I'm not saying I want to do it like it's not going to devastate me if I have to get an epidural, but I am going to try to hold off as long as possible. And like I was proud of myself for how far I got, and I think I did. But then they were like, hey, we're upping your Pitocin to get these contractions to come sooner. And I was like, hey, pop that baby in my spine, because I don't want to feel any more of this. I'm
Pop that
plus-
what? Baby in my spine.
because it had already been like 15 hours of labor, and I
Yeah.
was so tired. I was like, I
Pass.
don't want to feel it anymore. So
The hypnosis I can give you though does teach you how to make your own anesthesia.
great.
You just gotta hold ice sometimes, and then your body can simulate the feeling of ice
Okay.
in your uterus.
Good to
Sure.
know. Okay.
Just trust me. And wear these Nikes. Sign here in blood.
Oh, okay. A few minutes later, an epidural's in my spine. I'm semi-relaxed. Here we are. We're back in it. My midwife was training a doctoral intern in OB that night and asked if he could train on me. Of course. I love students, and this isn't my first rodeo. So she has him checking my cervix at intervals, going at a pretty quick pace and getting things ready. But here's the thing. I got to 10 centimeters dilated without my water breaking. That's also what I did. I was at 9.5, and then they finally had to break mine. Like it was freaking crazy. I can't even imagine. It was just like,
Yeah, it's bizarre.
bursting at the surface.
Mosby, my dog is scratching himself and shaking the camera. I hate everything. Will you come here?
My midwife tells the student it's time to break my water, and he gets down with the little hook thing to pop it. She backs up quickly to the corner where the door is and waits. Have you ever squeezed a water balloon so hard it bursts on one side? The poor intern stood up absolutely drenched while my midwife cackled from across the room. Everyone laughed, and the rest of the birth was an easy one. 15 minutes of pushing, and out popped my second baby. That intern definitely went and changed once his job was done with me, and now he has a very fun first delivery story.
Oh,
That'll do it.
So see, mine didn't like burst like that. I remember my water broke, and I was like, plug your ears for this. I remember being like, oh, what's up? You were just down there for a second, lady. What are you doing? And I was like, did my water break? She's like, yep, I popped it. And she holds up the tool that she used, and it is like covered in like this gunky stuff and blood. And I was like, honestly, I would have believed you. Like,
You didn't have to show me.
You had to show me that.
show your work.
I was like, cool.
Pick her, it didn't happen.
Prove it.
Ew. Okay, I
It was
will
so
say,
like I didn't need it.
I don't know if this is like another thing that you're thinking about, but it's so weird if you've never experienced having your water break
Oh yeah.
to like, am I not? What's going on? I don't
I pissed
know.
myself so many times.
I was just about to
oh,
say,
yeah.
I've done this. I've done that part a lot. So
Literally, I went to the doctor because I thought I was leaking. I left school and
Uh-huh.
I was like, cover my classes. I'm having a baby. And she's like, you peed. And I'm
You
like,
peed
great.
yourself.
Okay, cool.
Can't wait to tell my students.
Love
Yeah,
that.
can't wait to tell the principal tomorrow when I go back.
But the thing that I didn't know was that when it does break, it does not stop. So
Mhm.
that was I was like, I'm pretty sure that my water broke. And then I got a shower, and then I got out, and it was still just like heavy coming out. And I was like, no, I'm definitely sure now. It's been about 30 minutes.
Have a beach
Oh my
towel on
goodness.
hand.
Yeah, I had to sit and get ready with like a towel in between my.
But it may
Yeah.
not break. And that's the other thing is like, what's a contraction?
so-
When do I go?
That was why it was so annoying, because with Noah, my water broke. And so I was like, sweet, I fucking knew when to go to the hospital. With Sawyer, I had no clue. And I was in like labor for like weeks, like dilating and having contractions on
Weeks?
and off. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, just
fuck me.
Yeah, I was
just
dilated.
like on and off contractions.
I was
here and there.
3 centimeters dilated for like 2 weeks or so, but you like
Same.
don't feel it. You don't
No,
feel
no,
it.
you can't. Like I
Okay.
was having it like at nighttime. I would have heavy.
She goes,
contractions.
okay.
I would have contractions at nighttime and be like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then
Mine were never like that. So you're gonna have your own experience. I'm just saying it's a big mind fuck. I will say my doctor put his hand inside of me and like did baseball signs,
Uh-huh.
and he said that was going to make me go into labor, and it didn't, but it did dilate me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's a typical man sticking things up there thinking it's going to do something, but doesn't. So just throwing that out there.
absolutely devastating every time. Every
it
single
is
time.
to everyone involved.
Yeah. Oh,
Are we ready for the next one?
yes.
This
Mhm.
one's a fun one.
Is it like
I
fun
think.
or not fun?
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so in the story, the brother's pronouns are he, him, mom's pronouns are she, her, dad's pronouns he, him. Okay. But they don't give me theirs. It's fine. It's not about them.
Okay.
Let's set the scene. 1995 September. It was a nice autumn day in Australia for my mother and father until my mother's water broke and my brother, who didn't want to wait any longer, wanted to make his entrance. My mom and dad get ready for a new baby, drive to the hospital, and after like 10 minutes of waiting, she's put through to get a bed. A bunch of agony later, not the focal point of today's PowerPoint presentation, the doctor comes in to check on her and he sees she's crowning. But wait, not just that. My brother, who is still inside my mother's uterus, is spinning around and around like wet clothes in a washing machine on the spin cycle.
I'm sorry.
The doctor freaks out and calls over all the nurses in the room while my dad is just consoling my mom this whole time, not knowing what the fuck is happening. I love you, Dad, but you're a bit oblivious. Nurses rush over and see the top of my brother's head going around and around and around, and they're all wide-eyed and shocked, so they call even more doctors from the hallway and the rest of the paternity wing to see this phenomenon. At this point, my dad notices a fuckload of people staring at my mother's coochie and was like, hey, what the fuck is up? So they motion for him to come look too. So there's upwards of 30 people looking
How
at
long is this kid spinning? Like he's just like
spinning this whole time. So there's I wonder if he got like suctioned into a vortex.
the cervix.
Yes. On his way down, and he was like, "Ah, fuck."
Well, in my
I just
mind,
imagine you go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel so stupid because I was like, oh my god, what about the umbilical cord? But that comes out of his stomach. So
I mean, it could be
was like,
that I would worry about that too.
That
But
is
in my
concerning.
mind, I just imagine like he's in a pool and he's just doing one of those things.
Help!
oh
They get you to go around.
yeah.
Just kicking one leg.
He's creating a whirlpool. Everyone
Yeah.
join it.
Okay. So upwards of 30 people looking at my unborn brother spinning in my mom's vagina. And let's just say mom wasn't up for dealing with that for much longer and she wanted that fucker out now.
Oh my god, yeah. What does that feel like?
It can't feel good. I'll tell you what. They try the push method. No bueno. They try coaxing him out with their hands, which gave me like, come here, boy. This way.
They just get like the airplane things out.
Yeah, spin that this way. Sorry, I
This is
thought
so
I just
fucking
read
concerning.
peanut butter and I was confused. It's not peanut butter.
They
Okay.
use peanut butter to get him out.
Here,
Lube.
here, boy. Sniff it out. Okay, they try coaxing him out with their hands. Okay, nothing. So they have to grab this big vacuum to suck him out, and he ends up coming out with a little persuasion. But he now has a peanut-shaped head and is just staring at my dad like that eye mouth eye emoji.
Well, he's still on the vacuum.
Oh my
and still
god.
spinning.
My mom's next birth was me, and she opted for a C-section. I wonder why. Love the pod so much. Look forward to Tuesdays now. Can't wait to watch this episode with my new hoodie I ordered from you guys.
Oh, cute.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
something. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you right now. That's don't worry. I bet that's not gonna happen.
I'll let you know if it does,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Seems like a once in a lifetime kind of situation.
Yeah.
The amount of time that must have passed, and no one was concerned that this woman is crowning.
They were just like, this is a medical miracle. Eddie, get in here. You gotta fucking see this shit.
No wonder his head was peanut shaped. I mean,
Right,
if he was
he's just, like,
crowning,
Stuck in the
Like,
birth canal for so long.
yeah.
Maybe he was corkscrewing himself out.
Hang on. I got this.
I
shit.
hate that. Oh my! If I'm that woman, I'm furious to this day. That was
Oh, for
1995. I'm
Yeah.
furious until I die.
I
Get
hold grudges
why.
for life. So I'll
My
remember
kids,
this.
I'm like,
They,
listen,
they were like, "Oi, come in, yeah." Well, I can't do Australian.
that sounded good to me.
Did it? Okay.
close enough.
Throw some shrimp on this Bobby. It's spinning. I'm so upset for this woman and how long this kid was spinning.
Yeah, that
Inside
sounds
of her.
awful.
All right, this next story, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Graphic?
Well, this story, I personally reached out to this person. They had already put this story in,
Okay.
but I knew I wanted to share it because they shared this story in our Fangens page 3 weeks before I had Sawyer.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I
So
know.
here we go.
Now, I will say, a part of me feels like this would make me, maybe I'm really just trying to suck up to you because I feel so bad. But this would almost make me feel better because it's like these are so
It did.
fucking vastly different
Yeah, it did.
that like there's no way that I'm gonna replicate one of these.
yeah,
Okay.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Here,
So sorry.
here we go. The story starts off, this is my time to shine. Hi, hey, my name is Corey, she, her, and I delivered my daughter on the toilet. Yup. And the story gets crazier than that.
This
think
is my
Corey's one of-
nightmare.
Is Corey one of our mods?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Trigger warning. This was my nightmare too. And literally 3 weeks before I had Sawyer, this was what I was afraid would happen. And she posted it. And I'm like, tight. I love that. But it is a good story. And okay. I was 36 weeks and 6 days along and my water broke. Now I knew it broke because I had just gotten up to pee and the gush happened when I sat back down on the bed. So I go to the toilet and tell my husband my water just broke. We call the hospital, the whole nine, and they say to come in. My husband finishes packing the bags and we drive the short 10-minute drive to the hospital from our house. I'm in triage, and the nurse is amazing and super sweet, and she does the pH test, which comes back inconclusive. Okay, that happens sometimes. She does this Q-tip test afterward, which comes up positive for amniotic fluid, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
So she tells me your water definitely broke and you're going to be admitted. She leaves the room to arrange me being moved to a room. The fact that she went to the hospital, it makes me furious for what's about to happen next. Anyways, she leaves the room to arrange me being moved to a room, and we wait. Within a couple minutes, she comes back and says that actually my doctor wants to do what's called a Fern test on me to make sure it's actually amniotic fluid. They test the fluid and spread it on a test slide and see how it dries. So he comes in.
I hate that. You don't want to wipe anything coming out of me on a test slide. I promise you.
Let me see that. What's that look like?
He just is like, I hate it.
No.
I hate it. I hate it.
Why? Okay.
I brought my own sample. Here you go.
It's just in a cup.
Yeah.
It's been coming out of me all day. Okay. Where the fuck am I?
And triage.
We're in triage, the amniotic fluid. Okay. So he comes in, does a cervical check with lubrication. Thank you for clarifying. And then inserts the speculum with lubrication, then takes a swab and tests it. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming because they're saying lubrication, maybe that's why.
Oh, maybe
because of that is
what's
why
that word called?
Cross contamination.
I was
like that.
thinking diluted.
Fucky. Made
Like if it could it dilute it?
It probably is fucking it up somehow. Okay.
I like that it was like super medical, semi-medical.
Fucky.
Fucky.
And that's why I'm not a doctor. Okay, everyone. That's
Fair.
the only reason. Okay. Disregarding the fact, sorry. It comes back later and says that my water didn't break, disregarding the fact that I've had multiple other gushes of fluid since. They give me IV fluids and say I'll be uncomfy for a few days and to follow up on Monday. This was a Saturday. They couldn't find contractions because they were super low on me. And also I'm quite fat, and that's common for bigger ladies in labor. This is what?
Okay. What I don't understand. So I had excess fluid with Forrest.
Oh my God, yeah.
So like
Bitch was carrying around so much fluid inside of her.
I was so wet all the time. So but when they did the ultrasound, they could measure to see
The
how much
fluid.
fluid I had. So
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why they
didn't measure the fluid leaking. Yes,
Why are
because
you
they did
spending
that too.
so much time
Maybe-
testing the inside. Just do an ultrasound and be like,
Maybe
okay,
they didn't
let's
wanna, insurance reasons. They didn't want to because you got to pay for those.
Do you think they actually care?
America.
They don't care about that shit.
No, they don't.
no.
Okay.
Do you know how many ultrasounds I got? Like 1,000.
Me too. I got so many ultrasounds.
If anything, they're like, let me find more reasons to charge you for something.
Mhm.
To make you pay more.
Crank
money.
this bill up.
Okay. So they say I'm not in real labor. So I go home in pain and upset, and I try to eat, and it comes up within minutes. That's also how I knew I was in labor, because I was trying to
Getting
eat
sick.
and I could not keep anything down. Everything was just nope, not happening. I even tried to eat on the way to the hospital because I'm I know they're not going to feed me when I go in there. And I was just this is terrible. I don't want any of this.
When they sent me to get induced for Forrest because I had too much fluid, I stopped at Giant Eagle and got a 4-pack of donuts, and I ate 2 on the way there.
Carbo loading before I
And then after I gave birth, I was like, Shane, there's 2 donuts in my car. I'm gonna need those.
You'll get those for me. Yeah. I call the doctor's office to follow up and say the pain isn't getting better and I can't eat because of it. They tell me to take nausea medication and focus on being hydrated. It's not easy to do when you're in labor. I have my sister-in-law come over to watch me when my husband went to work because I didn't want to be alone and I was miserable and throwing up. Now, it's important to note that I didn't think I was in labor because I was told I wasn't in labor. So I was convinced I was constipated or I had gas, and that had to be the pain I was experiencing.
I'm so stressed out.
I'm so sorry for the story. I took Gas X and tried to relieve the pain. Tuesday comes, and this day, looking back, makes me giggle a little bit. I keep feeling the urge to poop, but nothing was coming out. I was furious. I called Labor and Delivery and asked for suggestions, and they say to get a lubricating suppository and juice and a stool softener, holy fuck, to help things move, but not to take a laxative because it can cause labor. Laugh out loud. So I order all of these things, take/use all of these things, still with no success. Remember, I hadn't eaten since Saturday, so there wasn't really much to come out anyway. So this just added to my confusion. After a while, I try to drink some broth and I throw it back up. Great. I think I can't even keep water down
It's
now.
Tuesday and she hasn't eaten since
Oh my
Saturday.
God.
So I call my doctor and say, hey, I can't even keep liquids down now, let alone the nausea medication. They're like, okay. I was like,
Sounds about right.
I was like, should I go in for fluids? They're like, yeah, sure. Cool. Thanks for that. So I have my father-in-law drive me to the hospital because I'm like, listen, I'm in so much pain. I cannot safely operate a motor vehicle. So he
Good call.
takes me and for sure. So he takes me and drops me off and I go back up to labor and delivery. They don't even do a cervical check. And the nurse is noticeably annoyed that I keep getting up to go to the bathroom because I felt like I had to poop. I even mentioned to her that I felt like a softball was trying to come out of my butt. And she said my daughter was just settling into my pelvis. Now she is early. So I think they probably would have taken her more seriously had she been like 38, 39 weeks. This is not normal. Usually you don't go into labor like before 37 weeks.
Well, but she was like, at this point, she was 36. What was it?
In 6 days.
Yeah. When she first went in on Saturday. So she's 37 weeks now.
At this point. Yeah. But like even my people, they weren't going to let me.
Sorry that I just scrolled that and probably lost
You
your
son
place.
of a bitch. No. Whenever I went in with Sawyer, I was 38 weeks and 6 days. So not yet 39. And they would not let me go. Like, because I wasn't exactly 39 weeks, unless I was over 6 centimeters, they weren't going to admit me, even though I was contracting regularly.
I was
and
contractually obligated
to go into labor. And I was like dilating. I went in there at like 4 and I was at a 6. And then they're like, oh, fucking cool. Now we can admit you. But they were like, because I had to wait until midnight. If I would have waited until midnight, they would have freaking taken me right in and just induced me. Anyways, doesn't matter. I had my baby. It's fine. This is not my story. Okay. She basically called me a wimp for complaining about the pain. They were focused on the nausea while I'm begging for pain medication or something because I was nauseous because I was in pain. They say they can't do anything for the pain and give me fluids and nausea meds and send me home. My husband makes me some rice and veggies when he gets home and I take a couple bites of that and go to bed. I'm up all night going to the toilet and at this point I swear it's hemorrhoids. I've never had them before and when I Googled it said sometimes they can make you feel like you have to poop. So I go on Amazon and order stuff for hemorrhoids. Around 1 a.m. I'm like, this sucks. I want to shower. So I go to the bathroom again and I'm on the toilet again and grab a wash rag. I try to stand up to go to the shower. My body is like, laugh out loud, nice try. Nope. And I sit back down. After about an hour, I feel a burning where my cervix is. And I'm like, what? So I reach up there and what do I feel? My daughter's head.
No.
I am in shock. Fuck, this is happening. It's happening right now. For the next hour, my body is pushing on its own every contraction.
That is the most terrifying feeling in the entire world.
Yep.
I have experienced it.
Yep.
When your body feels like it is pushing and you are not in
doing
control,
it.
it's like animalistic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And in between, I'm dozing off. I'm assuming she's like almost passing out because it's so painful.
No, she just got tired. So sleepy. I am bored as fuck delivering this baby right now.
I'm not able to speak or stand or anything. Around 3 a.m., so this is for 2 hours she's been doing this. Around 3 a.m., I start to feel intense stretching down there. I reach and feel the top of my daughter's head and I'm crowning. I scream my husband's name. So her husband's just been fucking sleeping this whole
Of course.
time.
Why are you not at the hospital yet?
Right? Well, she just like couldn't get off the toilet. I scream my husband's name. And I always take my phone with me. They probably didn't have their phone with them. I always take my phone to the bathroom just in case.
Same.
Like, what if I have a rough time in here and I need to call somebody?
Same.
You never know. Okay. I scream my husband's name and he comes in and I say something about her being on the way. He mentions hospital bags and I say, there's no time. You need to come here now. He comes to the toilet area of the bathroom and sees her head and eyebrows up out of me. He helps me stand up. And as I stand, my body pushes her out and he catches her. She was born at 3:15 a.m. on September 1st. We called EMS and went to the hospital after about an hour. She's now 8 months old and currently laying next to me, falling asleep for the night. I thought she was a hemorrhoid, but I was very wrong.
We named her hemorrhoid.
Oh, Hemi.
We call her Hemi.
And for the record, I've somehow never had a hemorrhoid, probably because your body was pushing for you.
My God.
Does anyone need a box of Tux pads?
Oh my gosh.
So also, I wrote in the Facebook thing that she didn't tear at all when she was pushing. So here's the thing. When I read that, immediately I was freaking the fuck out, like I'm sure you are, and I'm so sorry. But what made me feel better is knowing that that could happen and like it's okay, like that she did it. Like obviously not ideal, but like it didn't end in like a terrible way. It's like, yeah, I just fucking had my kid on a toilet. And like, what a story.
Well, there was
For
a YouTuber
sure.
that I watched had her baby in her hallway.
That was always so here's the thing. Whenever my water broke with Noah, I went in and I was 6 centimeters already and I was not feeling my contractions at all. So like I was terrified that like, what if my water doesn't break and I never feel my contractions, and then it finally breaks and then it's like too late. And that's kind of what happened. I did feel the contractions, but not as heavily as until they started Pitocin. But it's funny because like the water didn't break until she was literally coming out and it had to be broken. So I'm like, God damn, that could have been me. That could have been me. So scary.
For sure.
But
Listen,
it's
I
fine.
have
That was obviously like negligent on the hospital's part
Oh, for
multiple
sure.
times.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times. So like I don't think that happens very often.
Yeah.
good, but I already have like issues going to the bathroom. Like
Mhm.
this is our first episode we recorded in May. So we went over our April poop schedule. I only pooped 9 times in the month of April. Total.
Wow.
Like
That
I
was me when I was
literally,
pregnant.
this is my whole life. I like don't go. I actually
God.
feel like I go more often now that I am pregnant because he's like
Really?
pushing on my intestines
Yeah.
and really helping things move along.
Yeah.
But that's like my biggest fear is that I'm just gonna like just shit everywhere when I'm in labor and like pushing this baby out. I'm like, and I have such awful poops to begin with. I know this is TMI, but
Oh,
That's what we're here for.
yeah.
Honestly. We're ladies in TMI.
Right. But I have such awful poops to begin with, and it's because I don't go very often. It is a large amount.
Yeah.
And I am scared that when I push this baby out, there's just going to be more poop than there is baby.
You'll never know.
You will never know.
I'm sure I'll smell it.
Well, that's what
You
you
won't.
think. There's so many other smells happening.
I promise
There's
you.
so much else going on.
You kind of leave your body.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Now your husband might smell it.
Yeah.
He better not say a fucking word about it.
That's what I said.
tell
I was like, look me in the face. Do not fucking tell me if I poop. And then
Don't tell
afterwards,
me.
I was like, did I poop? And he was like, no. And I was like, would you tell me if I did? He's like, I would have told you that. I'm like, why would you do that to me?
I specifically told you not
I
to.
said not to. So when I had Sawyer, I went before they gave me the epidural. They were like, do you need to go to the bathroom? And I was like, yeah, I've been brewing something.
Some gnarly.
I think I need to get it out of me. But I was afraid because I was like, I really have to poop. But I've heard people say like, well, that means that you're gonna have the baby. But
Especially because it was right after
literally right
Corey
after I
had her
read-
baby.
So I'm like, shit. Literally. But I was only like, I had them check me before I went to the bathroom. I was only 7 centimeters. So I'm like, this fucking, you better not come out. Okay. So I went in, I did my business. I was there for so long because I was like trying to let my body just do the work for me because I did not want to push. I was just like so scared. But the shit that I had was so much and so not good that I was like, if this would have came out, I would have been devastated.
Yes.
Devastated.
Your baby
100%.
on your poop.
Yes.
No.
But my mother-in-law works in labor and delivery, and they just like have these little papers underneath you, and anytime it happens, they just like pull them
Switch
away.
it
Like
out?
you'll
Okay.
never
Yeah.
know. And so much else is coming out of you fluid-wise that it really dilutes the poop.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you don't even know
That
what's
makes
coming.
me feel better, but I'm still
Forrest
terrified.
Pooped in me.
Oh, did he?
Oh, that's lovely.
So
They
you're like,
they
was
had
this my
to.
shit? Was it his shit?
Oh no, it was very obviously his because they had to break my water and
It was like green.
oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. It was disgusting. And a lot because I had extra fluid.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So that was bad news bears. See, I have the opposite problem. I pooped like 4 times the other day.
Yeah, that's
We-
Christian
we
every
be-
day.
We be pooping over here.
Whenever
Yeah.
our live show was on Sunday and we went to the bathroom to pee right before, and I'm like, oh my God, shit just fell out of me. Like I didn't
Like,
even
I
mean
am
to.
shit.
I just sat down and I'm pooping. That was not expected. I call them surprise poops because I sit down intending to pee and then I'm like, oh, someone's come to the party.
And I was just like in the bathroom with her, and I was like, "It's okay. Don't worry on my account. Like you're good.
I don't care. Any bathroom
No.
that I'm in is my bathroom.
Yeah, sorry
Fair
that
enough.
you're in here too.
Yeah.
Keep the party.
How does Christian feel about the whole thing?
He's very nervous.
Yeah.
He's more nervous than I am. And he was nervous to even like decide to have a baby.
Mhm.
And he was very just like
He was
unsure
worried what was
about
going to
it.
happen to his body.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he felt the same way when I took in a stray cat. I was like, we're doing this. And he was like, oh, I don't know. Are you sure? I'm like,
You're
We're
like, it
just gonna
already
do
lives
it.
here.
we're just going to do it. And then you'll see that it's fabulous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is. The cat is great.
I kind of
So.
did that with Corey. He was like, yeah, I wanted to, but like I kind of really moved the conversation there.
Good.
Yes.
Tell everyone you baby trapped him.
No, I definitely baby. But no, I just was like, hey, listen, my biological clock is ticking, and I don't want my kids to be like 14 years apart. Like, let's.
And if people are going to start policing my body, I'd like
I'd
to
like to
maybe
get this over with.
do it when I have control. So
100%.
So I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That was something that shocked me. But anyway,
Shane and I were talking about that. We're kind of like
oh, sorry.
derailing, but we were on a walk the other day and he's so fucking upset. He saw the Instagram post that I had made, and he's been off social media for a while
Mhm.
because he had gotten into it about police brutality with someone that he had grown up with and like really respected.
Mhm.
And he like went at it with him. And so he's like, I can't be on social media because people that I love, I will totally cut ties with because
Yep.
of how fucking stupid they are. Just to put it in the simplest terms ever. And
Mhm.
so, but he knows obviously I'm very active on social media. It's
Right.
like my job.
It's
but,
your job. Yeah.
Right. So he knew that I posted that, and he's like, I am so fucking devastated and upset because your life was at risk. And like,
Mhm.
not only did we grieve a child, but like I could have grieved my wife, my
Right.
future. And now all of this is going to happen to these people. And I said, that is why when the election results were coming in 2016, I sat on the couch and I sobbed because I knew this was
100%.
coming.
Well, and
Yep.
do you remember how people called us dramatic because of our reaction when RBG died?
Yep.
And I was like, this is why we
Literally.
had that reaction, because it was like people were like, what's her name, Amy Coney Barrett or
I
whatever.
don't know.
Whenever she was elected, like put in, everybody's like, relax, it's not a big deal. And it's like, but it is. And now
Yeah.
this
It
is
is.
the fucking reason. This is why we were all so upset in the first place, because now I thought about before having another child, and this honestly makes me want to get my tubes tied, because I don't even want to like risk it.
Well,
at this
especially
point.
because we are people who have had miscarriages.
Uh-huh.
So like
Both
the-
of us have had to use like quote unquote means of abortion.
Right.
Like, the abortion pill.
a
was
miscarriage
what-
itself is a spontaneous abortion from
that's
your body.
medically what it's called.
Yes.
So
So like
in Louisiana, making miscarriages a felony, making people who are already grieving the loss of a pregnancy then go through.
have to try to prove that it wasn't, because there are other laws. I don't know
Mm.
about Louisiana, but I know other laws, even Ohio
Uh-huh.
is trying to get to like, you have to prove it. So like you're going to have to prove that you didn't cause it, basically. which is,
Honestly,
like,
my DNA is fucky.
yeah, like,
so-
what do you want me to do?
Or just lock me up, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I meant earlier when I was saying that, like, reading all this and listening to this while feeling my baby move
Oh, it has to be
is
so hard.
surreal. Because
Yeah.
I mean, people in my life have had abortions, and I obviously support, I'm very pro-choice,
Right.
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, having a baby move inside me while thinking about all of this is just, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
really
duality
wild.
of it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mhm.
Well, and I think there's like a stigma almost where it's like, well, you have a child. Like I used to say I'm pro-choice and people would be like, but you have kids. And I'm like, yeah,
And it
that
was my choice to have a kid.
That was my choice.
You do know what a choice is,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Yeah.
I chose.
I'm
yes.
not saying that I want everyone in the world to get abortions. Like that's not what that means.
But like, if they want to,
Then
Okay.
that's between them and their anything. We could go into this. I've been like just spiraling
Same.
for days because of it. But yeah, it is something that's really devastating because I think that people, and I saw it a lot on Jerry's status, was like people don't know what the fuck they're voting for.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
especially men. I'm sorry, but like that's just what was on her status and what I've been seeing recently, which is people were like, yeah, I'm not talking about what happened to you. I'm talking about abortions. And it's like, that wasn't, do you not understand that was an abortion? That's why we're all so upset.
Are you making me like explain my trauma to you?
Right? Or like medical
To
terminology.
justify it, like time and place, buddy.
Yeah.
Not here, but I will. I got time. I truly, I felt really vulnerable, really like, because I've talked about my losses before, but never in a way that's like, this fucking saved my life. This
Mhm.
was devastating to me. You do not understand the pain that I went through.
And it saved your children's life because
Right.
then you were able to you might not have been able to have your children afterwards.
But I've never talked about it in that way before. I've never shared about it in that way before. I've always tried to make a positive spin on it. But at this point, it's like, I'm done making it positive for you because it just gives you this wiggle room to feel like it's okay for it to keep happening.
Or like you have these colored glasses on that are like, well, no, not what you're talking about. I'm talking about this. And it's like, okay, but these laws don't specify. That's why it's a problem because there is no black and white. It is such a vast gray area. And that's why like policing bodies and uteruses and medical things.
I say we
like
start
that.
harvesting men's organs. You want to force women, you want to force people with uteruses to give their body to a
Incubator.
to be an incubator. I am gonna take your kidney or part of your
I
liver.
need that now.
We need that. Sorry. Hey, I'm pro-life and Susie needs a kidney. Hand it over.
Well, I used to say this because so I used to be, we totally derailed this, but it's fine because it needs to be talked about and
Hey,
whatever.
it's ladies and tangents.
Yes,
That's
this
what we're
is
here
We're here for.
Correct.
So I used to be extremely pro-life, like extremely.
we used to
like,
get in fights about it in high school.
Yeah. It also correlated with the fact that I was very Christian back then. And I even wrote like a huge paper in school, like one of our biggest English papers on being pro-life. I fucking failed it, but rightfully so, because I did a shit ass job and I didn't know what I was talking about. And
Because
that's
the
like,
teacher was pro-choice.
no, I really did a bad job. Like, honestly, it should have been typed up and I fucking hand wrote that bitch. Like,
You
that's how
did?
bad I did.
I don't think you had a computer.
I did have I could have gone to the library. I also waited until the day before to do it. So anyway,
She just writes "God says so" really big on a paper.
but like my reasonings weren't taking into like I wasn't making a good argument for myself. And when I see people now, the things that they're saying, I'm like brought back to that time because they're not like, you need to give more than just like it's murder, like because you're not understanding A, B, C, D, whatever. Anyways, the biggest thing that changed my mind that I heard about when somebody explained what bodily autonomy was to me. So they said it in a way that was like, okay, let's just say Sierra, your sister, who you love so much in the world, right? She is dying. She needs a kidney transplant. You are the only person in the world who is a match for her. She needs your kidney to survive. I cannot force you to give her your kidney, but you know, the rest of the world knows she's going to die if you don't give her your kidney.
You're
even if
killing
I
her if you don't.
Even if I was dead, even if I was a corpse, she would have to have my written permission to take that organ from me. So why corpses and things like that have more bodily autonomy now than people with uteruses blows my mind. You cannot force somebody to give away a part of their body, their whole body, and let someone else use it or something else use it for a large amount of time. Like that's not, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like I said, maybe I want to. That's the thing that frustrates me, is that now I almost feel like my hand is twisted, because I did think that perhaps I would want to in like a couple years, maybe. And now I feel like almost that choice is taken away from me, because I don't want to possibly be a felon if I miscarry again, which I've had 2 of. So like I'm 2 for 2. That's a really fucking, that's 50-50 odds, baby. That's not looking good for me. So yeah, it's just frustrating.
What would prison look like with a bunch of people who just miscarried?
Sad.
A lot of crocheting.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd teach them all. Because that's what I did after I had mine. And it honestly made me feel better.
Well, see, all right.
Okay.
Oh my God, they just make sweatshops full of people who have miscarried. They're not
That's literally
prisons.
Well, oh my God.
This is some
That's the
Handmaid's
future they
Tale
want.
shit.
That's the future they want.
That's what I'm saying. It is very Handmaid's Tale.
And the thing that's scary about it is that we can joke and be like, because I feel like I have to joke, because if I don't, I'm gonna cry.
Yes,
but
same.
you can joke and say things. I don't even think it's really joking saying it's Handmaid's Tale, but like if you watch the show, that's why they show it wasn't like one big thing that turned it. It was just a bunch of little things, and like this is how it starts. So it's upsetting. Okay.
Anywho.
Wait, one more thing. If pro-life people are still listening and they're like rolling their eyes so hard, I just want to say that in Ohio, where we live right now, they're trying to pass a law that criminalizes abortions even for people who have been raped. That includes minors. Just putting that out there. If you are for that,
kick rocks.
Literally, like I'm sorry, if you're for that, you're not pro-life. So if you're still listening and you're wondering why we're so heated, that's fucking why. Okay. So hi ladies, my name is Hannah. Hannah. And my daughter just turned 2 on May 5th. She also shares a birthday with the Jerry to my Sierra, Haley. Aww. We are also cousins who are best friends. She was the maid of honor in my wedding this past September. I grew up in a small town in West Virginia, about 2 hours from where you are. Oh, excuse me. There's one giant hospital where basically everyone is born that lives here. Love that. Kind of the same here. There's like 2. When I went to be induced, the room number I was in sounded familiar to me. So I called my mom and asked what room I was born in. And it coincidentally was the exact same room I was born in. So shout out to room 227 at Camden Clark for giving my girl Amelia and I a special bond.
Aww.
That's so cute.
I had Sawyer in room 420.
Hell yeah.
I was like, fucking blaze up, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's so funny because we have talked about how we don't partake. We're not against. We have it in our life, but it's not like something we do
on
now.
the regular.
But like we do talk about it like we do.
I know, it's just fun to do.
Yeah.
Gotta stay relevant.
Well, I have a question for you. Do you have a name? Have you announced a name? Or are you keeping it a secret?
I just want to meet him. I want to hold him and see what the vibe is, you know?
Yeah.
I've got like 4 names picked out.
Oh, cool.
Have you shared them?
No.
I am nosy as fuck when it comes to this, but you don't have to share them with me.
I'll share them with you when we're done recording. Ask me when we're done. Because I've got one that I'm like 90% sure that's what it's gonna be.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't want to like meet him and then like, well, you're not a Henry. You know what I mean?
We had 2 names for Sawyer that I really loved, and we knew it was kind of going to be Sawyer, but like I had this other one in my pocket that I loved, and when she came out I was like, oh, she's Sawyer, like for sure. She is.
That's what
if I look at her now and say her the other name I was thinking about, I'm like, no.
What was the other name?
Eloise.
Oh yeah.
Which we were going to call her Ellie. I love that name, but can you imagine that in my child? I just don't think that would fit.
No, one of my favorite songs is called Eloise. So
yeah.
Nice. I actually have a really fun story for you guys about baby names.
Okay.
So this is my birth story. So when my mom gave birth to me, and so my mom was 16 when she had me. My dad was 18. It was the thing, whatever.
Wow. Okay.
Complicated story. Anyway, my dad's also a drug addict and an alcoholic, has been his whole life, my whole life, hasn't stopped, whatever. So when my mom went into labor with me, and the whole time that she was pregnant with me, my name was supposed to be Kennedy Rose Walzer. And she was going to call me Kenny. whatever, it was the 90s. And she goes she goes into labor, and my dad is nowhere to be found, whatever. They had no plan. My mom literally had no idea what she was going to do. Literally could have aborted me, but didn't. Thanks for that, Mom. And she has the baby. My dad shows up hungover as hell, like last minute, right? And after I'm born, my dad's holding me in the corner of the room, and the nurse comes in to fill out the birth certificate. And my mom was so mad because he just kept saying, like, we'll figure it out. They didn't have a house to take me to. They didn't have anything figured out for when they left the hospital. And my dad just kept blowing her off, like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out later. And the nurse comes in to do the birth certificate, and she asks what the baby's name is. And my mom says, Erika. My dad's name is Eric. So she names me after my dad. And then she asks for my last name, and she gave me her last name instead of his. And then the nurse says the father's name. And my mom looked my dad in the eyes and said, Father unknown, as he's holding me. So my official birth certificate says Erika Rose Kelly, father unknown. And then when I was like 2 or 3, they paid like $400 and had it legally changed. So my official birth certificate has Kelly crossed out and father unknown crossed out, and it's filled in with the correct.
Are your parents still together?
No. Well,
okay.
So they were together until I was like 4 or 5. They split up. My dad had a child with another woman, so I have a half brother. He's wonderful. I love him. And then my parents got back together, had my sister, who's 8 years younger than me, who's a menace, but I love her. And then they got married. Oh, and now they're divorced. It's a wild ride. But that's like my favorite story about my mom being a petty bitch.
I was going to say that is so like, fucking petty. And I
looked him in the eyes. Like, technically I named her after you, but I didn't.
But yeah, father and now, because we don't even know who the dad is.
I don't know you. Give me that baby.
That's incredible.
So and like
people wonder why I'm petty. Interesting. I don't know.
Comes honestly.
Is he still like, are you still in contact with your dad?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I kind of gathered that from how you were speaking, but I am a nosy bitch, and I'm like, so what's your deal?
I mean, if he called me today and was like, hey, I'm sorry for the way I've treated you your whole life, and I want to do better, let's amend things, I would 100%, drop whatever I was doing and try to fix our relationship. But I have put myself out there enough times to say, like, this is what you've done. This is how you've treated me. I'm not putting up with it. Ball's in your court. And
he's the parent. So like, that's
exactly
responsibility.
It's what my therapist said.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in 3 years, almost 3 years. I was physically in the same room with him a couple weeks ago. It was very awkward. I was celebrating my great grandma's birthday, but I didn't talk to him. So
I was gonna say, is that how he found out you were pregnant?
No, he found out at a party because he overheard my mom, who also went to that party, telling someone else that she was going to be a grandma. So,
and he still didn't reach out to you after that?
No.
Well, fuck him then.
Yeah. No, I invited him to my. Yes. I love my new daddies.
Yeah.
I invited him to my wedding, and I wrote him a letter saying, like, hey, you're not father of the bride, you're a guest. Here's the reasons why. He told me to fuck off, and then I haven't talked to him since.
What? Well, fuck him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Daddy, if you're listening, fuck you.
Yeah. So I actually celebrate Mother's Day twice. I celebrate in May with my mom on Mother's Day, and then I have second Mother's Day with my mom in June.
That's amazing.
Oh, Shane's half sister did the same thing. She was like, I'm the dad. I'm the mom and I'm the dad.
Yes. Well, and what's amazing too now though is like now Father's Day you can focus on like Christian and that's awesome.
And since Christian and I have been together, which has been like almost 13 years.
Oh wow, were you guys like high school sweethearts?
Yeah.
Cute. Okay,
It's very
sorry.
cute. Christian's whole family is high school sweethearts. His grandma, his mom and dad, all of his siblings married all of their high school sweethearts.
No
Oh my
pressure.
God. I was going to say no pressure.
Yeah. And then everybody in my family is divorced. So let's conflicting information there. But as soon as like I got into his family, his dad is incredible father, incredible grandfather. So I like always felt bad not celebrating Father's Day, but I celebrated with him.
Yeah.
But like all my social media posts on Father's Day are happy second Mother's Day. And,
Yes.
you know, focusing on my mom, who's an incredible woman. So yeah, that's
Love
my birth
that.
story. I
Well,
love
I
telling
love
it.
I
It's a
do
good
love
one.
that. That's an amazing story.
It is. Good
Mhm.
for your mom. Okay.
Well, we're going to pretend that we didn't have technical difficulties and that everything is still fine. We're putting it out in the universe that when I go to put all of this together, it's great.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
oh my
great.
God, it's
Everything's fine.
so good.
And like I
Everything's
said, if you need me to come back and like do this again,
absolutely no
love
problem.
to. We
and I'm
love
pretty
to.
sure you guys are only like a 5.5 hour drive from me. So like if
Oh,
I
see,
need to
just
drive out, I can do that too. That's not.
Are you in?
not
Well,
a
at this point, I don't think you're allowed to drive that far.
When I was 29 weeks, I went on vacation in North Carolina. So don't recommend, but I did do it.
That's a good point. My doctor was like, don't go anywhere that's more than an hour away. So I was like, sorry, can't come to Christmas.
My doctor was like, "Wow, you can do it until 36 weeks. And I was like, I have a history of going into labor early. And she's like, it's fine. I was like, okay,
I'll be all right.
well, I'm going then.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
all right,
Everything's- we're putting it in the universe. Everything's going to be fine.
Yes.
It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Last story I wanted to end on a good note. Okay, here we go.
Because the other ones weren't good.
No, they were so good, but this is just like a positive, not so scary for Erica.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. For Kennedy. I just start calling
Ken,
Ken.
Could you even imagine though? That'd be so weird.
I know. I always think
I
that. I'm
don't
like,
know.
well, my name was gonna be Brian.
Okay. Is it weird?
They thought I was a boy.
Have you heard us talk about Mario Kart, Erica?
Vaguely, a few times.
Okay.
Yes.
You
Very-
remind me of Mario
very
Kart,
much.
Erica.
Yes, very
Like
much.
a lot.
Yeah.
So the fact that your name is also Erica is wild. Now she's with a C and you're with a K, but
Mhm.
how do you feel about that? Is the K for Kennedy?
No, that was another because my dad's name is Eric with a C. So my mom wanted it to be
Ah.
different. Like you're named after her or after him, but like you're different.
Not really.
Yeah, but the unknown version of him.
Mhm.
Love that. Love it. Okay. So there's trigger warnings for infertility, but it's okay. This isn't a birth story, but I just found out I'm pregnant with my first, and I'm so excited and wanted to share how I found out. I've always wanted to be a mom. I've been planning this for years. I went off birth control 3 years ago, started to see what happens for a year, and then started tracking my cycles and trying 10 months ago. I have PCOS and my cycle. Wow. I have PCOS and my cycles were just all over the place. 30 days, 70s. It was a 70s. 1 second. Here we go.
My cycle's in the 70s.
And Sunny.
She's
It's fucking groovy, baby. Oh, we went weather and I went,
you did
decades.
decades again. Because remember, you were like, I'm more of like a 60s,
Yeah.
70s. Anyway, all right,
Anyways,
sorry.
okay. 30 days, 70. It was a fucking wild guess every time. My doctor told me that if I didn't get pregnant in 6 months to come back. 6 months went by. I'd started getting 10-day long periods 1 week after my positive ovulation. And so I made that phone call only to find out my doctor's office just closed and didn't tell me. I called around and happened to find the office my midwife went to. This was in January because I live in a small rural town. That is a fucking hard word to say.
Who made up that word?
Rural. Fucking A. Small rural town.
I honestly think that people in rural towns speak the way that they do because of the word rural,
That's fair. As somebody living in a rural town, I get it.
right?
So
Yeah.
fair. The new office got swarmed with new patients and I couldn't get in until April. The beginning of April comes around and I go to my doctor and get on metformin and get the order for my husband's semen analysis. I schedule it for the Tuesday after Easter. If you know anything about them, semen analysis, they can't jizz for 2 to 5 days before the analysis. So when I got a positive ovulation test on Easter, hello full moon and goddess of fertility holiday, I had him reschedule his appointment. We did the deed on Easter, and 8 days later, he went for his analysis, and the same day, like clockwork, I started having spotting. I thought for sure I was out. This has been happening for months, so how could I not be out? I had a full grieving mental breakdown, scheduled my HSG, uterus infertility diagnosis test, and 2 days later, I just thought, let me dip this pregnancy test. Maybe this time it's different. And boy, was I shocked when a second line popped up. It was faint, so I thought it was a fluke. But then a second one came up the same. I texted my husband
I
like,
thought you meant the same. I thought you said the same test where it's just like 7 lines on the test. Like
you're extra pregnant.
you pregnant. I texted my husband like, babe, I think I'm pregnant, but we waited until after work. I went and got an expensive test, and bam, there it was, an undeniable second pink line. I ran outside where my husband was working on his Jeep to tell him I was definitely pregnant. Our security camera caught that 10-second moment where I got to tell him he was going to be a dad. And he hugged me so tight and whispered, we did it, in my ear.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe. With Mother's Day this weekend, we are sending flowers to our moms who both live in different states from us, with the announcement on the flower card.
So the moms don't even know we found out before the moms.
Yeah. I know it's early and anything can happen, but for right now, I'm basking in the joy. We couldn't be more excited, and I think this is my first Mother's Day.
Oh,
Love you ladies so much and can't wait to hear all the amazing stories. As a now expecting mother myself, P.S. My husband couldn't remember the phrase bun in the oven, so this bitch has a biscuit and also maybe some bread in her oven.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's so cute.
I know. Just like this, I like when I read that, I teared up because I like had a vision of what it like. I don't even know what these people look like, but I like pictured in my head that moment. And I was like, how did you tell, or did you guys find out together? Like, how did that moment happen?
So I had a doctor's appointment that morning for like a medication refill, nothing about that. And since we were planning this pregnancy, I had extra pregnancy tests like lying around, and I would take one like, every couple of weeks. Like I had an IUD for 5 years. So then when it was time to get my IUD taken out, like I knew that I wasn't getting on any other birth control.
Right.
So that morning I had extra time before my doctor's appointment. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to take one, see what happens. And I had taken like 4 before that, and they were all negative. And I knew like, it's only been 2 months since I had my IUD taken out. Like it's fine. If it's negative, I've got time.
Yeah.
And I was just brushing my teeth next to my pee stick, and all of a sudden I looked down and it's 2 lines, and I was like, and I was like, what? And then I turned to my dog Maxine, and I was like, I'm pregnant. And she looked at me, and she like still doesn't get it. But then
I'm gonna need you to have a little bit more excitement. Maxine.
Yeah, she literally doesn't care, has no idea. But I get back from my doctor's appointment, and Christian had brought me Culver's. Do you guys have Culver's in Ohio?
Is that ice cream?
It's frozen custard, but they also have like burgers and cheese curds and all that
Probably,
thing.
but not in like the town that we're in, because
we're rural.
We're very rural.
I mean, same, but like Culver's is where it's at. So he brought us Culver's, and we're eating we're getting all these cheese curds, and I looked at him and I said, I get all of these cheese curds now since I'm eating for 2, right? And he like did a double take, and he was like, wait, what? You're pregnant? And I was like, yeah, I just found out. And he was just like, he like pushed me a little bit like on the shoulder, like, really? And I was like, stop. I'm delicate now. You can't push me.
Don't touch me. I'm a delicate flower.
Give me your
I
cheese
am a child now. Yeah. So I did eat all the cheese curds, but
I love that.
That's really cute.
I love that.
Oh my goodness.
I did not get a cute one for my second pregnancy because I used that up for my first one that ended in a miscarriage. And so I was like, the second time we had been like trying. So I took a test, but it was like the faintest faint line that you've ever seen. And I was like, I don't know, Joanne might be pregnant. I don't know. don't jinx it, but like might be to Corey. And he was like, okay. And I was like, but don't say anything, but might be, but don't say anything, but it could be.
And, like she told me over Marco Polo and was like, well,
did.
I'm fucking pregnant. And I'm like, okay. Jesus.
That's kind of what I did to him too. So then 2 days later, I'm like, I'm just gonna wait 2 days. I'm just gonna see. And I took a digital test and I was like, okay. Don't like, this is not exciting because, you know, anything could happen. And like, it's so fucked up because my brain was all warped to be like, well, this one probably isn't going to last. So I was just like, I went up to Corey and I was like, hey, just so you know, I am pregnant. However you want to feel about that is, so I'm going to go downstairs and just, again, I am pregnant. So goodbye. He was sleeping. He was like, oh, okay, cool. That was his reaction. I was like, tight.
Amazing. Love the enthusiasm.
They got drunk and he told his whole family when I wasn't around.
Really?
I didn't get to be there for that. Because I was like, we're
that's
not going
fair.
to tell anybody. And he was like, no, definitely not. We're going to wait. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I took my son for a birthday trip. We went to like a water park, Kalahari thing. And I had to tell this is how I told my mom and my sister. I got in the car and I was like, hey, because at Kalahari, they have like bars that you can drink at while you're at the water park. And I was like, I don't know if we're going to be drinking this trip. I'm just going to say, I'm not. I am pregnant. Okay. So I had to get that out of the way because I don't want Noah to know because we were going to pick him up and I didn't want to tell him yet. So then they're like, what, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, we're not going to talk about it. It's not even happening and it's fine. And if I get sick on the way up, that is why. Okay. And then Corey called me the next day and he's like, hey, so I did drink at my parents' house with my family. And I was like, talking to his niece and he was like, what would you think about having a little cousin? And his mom was like, what? And he's like, so sorry, everybody knows.
Everyone knows I took care of it. Honestly,
Like,
that's probably for the best.
It was because I didn't want to, I was like, already had done something big the first time and I was kind of like, I didn't want to make a big you know thing.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well,
I called my mom. I like could not wait. I was having such a hard time waiting. I was so excited. And I called my mom and I was like, it was on her lunch. She was on her lunch break. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? She's like, I'm on my lunch break. What's going on? Like she thought something bad was going on.
because I'm eating for two.
I said, are you sitting down? And she's like, what's going on? I was like, Mom, I'm pregnant. She goes, I just sobbed instantly. And my mom's a hard bitch. Like she does not cry easily. And she just like full
That little
on
baby has
sobbing.
melted her.
Yeah,
Really?
She Tafiti'd her.
Yeah.
You ever seen Moana? Your baby is like the heart of Tafiti. She went
Literally.
from Taka never giving you hugs to just like freaking rubbing all up on
nuzzling
you.
on that baby.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't worry. As soon as that baby's out, I won't care about you again. And okay, cool.
That's truly how
Amazing.
it happens.
Did I ever tell you? There's no way. Maybe my mom will listen to this and maybe she'll yell at me. But so after my 2 losses, I am a very, contrary to popular belief, I'm a very private person when it comes to my emotions. So like when I'm feeling them, I'll talk to you about them after.
Yeah,
But
same.
after my miscarriages, I was like putting on a brave face, kind of just like everything's fine, very positive. And my sister was living in Arkansas at the time, and she had ordered a wedding dress and it came in way too small. And so she was like having a meltdown because the person basically wrote down the measurements wrong. And so my mom's like, we're getting on a plane, we're going to Arkansas, we're getting Sam a new dress. And I'm like, okay. So she bought us tickets to Texas and then rented a car so that we could drive from Texas to Arkansas because she was hoping that on the 5-hour drive, I would open up to her. And on this drive,
That's how I feel.
on this drive, she starts talking to me about children. And I was like, honestly, at this point, like Shane and I just want to focus on each other. We are potentially wanting to move out west. Like we're not putting any pressure on it. And knowing that like my body just might not be able to do this, it's not something I want to keep putting myself through. And she's like, I will carry your baby. And I was like,
I offered to.
I said, well, okay, my mom had breast cancer. She is on medication for like a very long time. And I said, Mom, you would have to stop taking your medication, like your cancer medication. And she's like, I know. That's fine. And I said, okay. And she goes, it's not like I'm leaving the baby without a mother. And I said, no, you're leaving me without a mother, you fucking weirdo. Like, what do you mean? Absolutely not. I'm not letting you carry my baby. My God.
I forgot that she offered to do that.
Yeah, so there's that story.
My mom also offered to do that, but
What
I
is
haven't
up with
had
it?
any issues. So like, but my mom is only 43. Like she
Oh,
is
okay.
still
True.
of reproductive age.
Yeah.
And like, but the
She
idea
is
that I
still
was
a
just like,
fertile bitch.
please don't.
Right.
Don't.
Do that.
Thank you. But let's see if I
Love
can do it
the
on my own
sentiment.
first.
Yeah.
Why
Could
you
you
just wanna
babysit
carry-
instead?
Yeah,
Why are you just all about carrying my kid?
Yeah, no, thank you. I also don't want to be indebted to you for my entire life.
My mom said that all the time because she was like, I loved being pregnant. I had the best pregnancies. And I'm like, So every time that I would complain, she'd be like, wow, I didn't experience that at all. I loved
Oh,
my
yeah.
pregnancies. And I'm like,
Liar.
love that for you.
Are you
Yup.
enjoying pregnancy?
now, yes.
See, that's how I felt too.
My first trimester was awful. I was sick constantly. I lost over 20
Mhm.
pounds in my first trimester.
Wow.
And I'm still 4 pounds down. Like I haven't gained all of it back yet.
Wow.
I still have 2 months of my pregnancy left. I am sure I'm about to gain it all back. It's fine.
I gained 13 pounds in a week one time when I was
Yeah.
pregnant.
That's
You had
fully what
extra
I'm
fluid.
expecting.
I did have extra fluid. It
Yeah.
was water weight.
So yeah, my first trimester and like even a couple weeks into my second trimester, I was fucking miserable. I was like,
Mhm.
man, I ain't gonna do this again. But
yeah.
now I'm living my best life. I'm having a good time.
While I was pregnant and then even like postpartum, me was like, I will fucking never do that again. And now 6 months out, I'm like, I could do it again.
I know she was like, I didn't have that bad of a time. And I'm like,
You-
we have recordings of you talking about how much you hated it. So
I was
shut up.
like, it's so weird what your brain does because my brain
Uh-huh.
is like, honestly, it wasn't that bad. You really enjoyed
That's
it. And I
some
was like, I
cognitive
think I did.
dissonance.
I think I did enjoy it.
Yeah, even saying like, oh, my first trimester was awful. I was so sick, but like I could do it again. It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. I could do it.
Pass.
But then I would be laying on the. I guarantee if I got pregnant again, I would just lay on the floor and cry like I did when
Pass,
I
pass.
literally was like had like why did I do this to myself again moments and then I'm like no, it'll be fine.
I accidentally got pregnant with Forrest, who's my second, and it was way earlier than we anticipated. I was late for my period every month. I was 3 days late, and every month I panicked and took a test, and then my period would start. It was almost like honestly,
You have to take this
a
test to get
capitalistic conspiracy. So
this big pregnancy test.
big pharma is making my period late. So on Christmas Day, I was 3 days late and I had an extra pregnancy test and I took it, and then it immediately, like before I even pulled my pants up, 2 lines, and I went, oh no. Ollie wasn't even 1 yet.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
2 days away
boy.
from his first birthday. And I walked out and I was like shaking, and I just showed it to Shane, and he goes, are you joking? And I was like, why the fuck would I kid about this? And where would I get this from? Absolutely not. This is not funny to anyone. But anyway, this has been fun, guys.
This was fun.
How fun was this? We should do this
I
again.
loved this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was
Yeah.
so exciting. And I feel like I was just hanging out with best friends for like the last 2 hours. It was super cool.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for hanging out, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love you so much. We will see you next week.
All right.
We're out.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.